bladder infection means you're in trouble.
Oh, hey, look at you, friends. Welcome to How Are You Now, the podcast where we talk about everything Letterkenny related, from Shorzy's chirps to McMurray's questionable behavior. We're the toughest podcast in Letterkenny, and we're here to talk about everything that makes this show a cult classic. So grab a puppers, get ready for some Hicks skids and hockey players. TR, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Oh, not so bad.
I need to use the mouse real quick.
Oh, you go use the mouse real quick. We share.
I was like, I'm gonna wait. I can't see anything. But
Oh,
there we are. Hi.
all right, there you are. You're pretty cute.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're not so bad yourself, sir.
So what you been up to?
Lots of stuff.
Oh yeah, don't care to share.
No.
All right.
Start my new job on Tuesday.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
That's something nice
Yeah.
and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
How about you?
Recorded my second voiceover,
Yes.
which was really funny because
that was all ASMR
well,
stuff,
no,
right?
there was one line.
Mhm.
There was, I want to say, 9 different effort sounds. And then
All right.
there was an ASMR. I was
Don't. Don't.
So yeah, that's what that was. So but yeah, I'm hoping to get more. I put out new demos out on my Fiverr.
Hey.
Hopefully we'll get some auditions in and all that jazz, and doing some other fun stuff. Got some plans, but we'll see how they go. But and we have a new phone number.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's 503-487-2789, which spells 50 Fit Party, because we're here to get fit.
Sure.
We got another promo this week. Let's go ahead and play that, and before we get into our introduction.
Sundays at 3 a.m. It's The Fuss with Hank and Jess on Letterkenny's own 97.1 CGNU. Good new radio? We're not so bad.
All right.
Right.
So if we are ready,
I guess so.
are we? Are we ready?
I'm awake. That's
well,
step one,
yeah.
right?
So our guest today is David Alan Mack, New York Times bestselling author who has written for Star Trek, StarCraft, Star Search, so many franchises. He's also a devoted fan of Letterkenny. Has joined us to discuss season 11, episode 5, Influenzas. We're very excited to have him back here on the show and hear his thoughts on the episode as a whole and the season as a whole. So without further ado, let's welcome to the show David Alan Mack.
I usually just go by David Mack professionally. Just so
You know what? Well, but when I look up David Mack, I get some drummer or something. So,
a drummer?
I think it's a drummer or some musician of some
Oh, for
sort.
crying out loud! I mean, I know we're Legion. We are Legion. There are 1,700 of us in North America.
No.
I mean, it's bad enough, I have to share the name with the comic book artist whose work sort of overlaps mine thematically. And then, of course, there was like a guy who was in Congress in South Carolina, and then there was a guy who owned an antique shop in London, and some guy keeping a blog about learning to fly small single-engine aircraft. Then there was the corrupt cop out in L.A. who shot Biggie Smalls. I'm none of these people. Okay. But you can see I've got an uphill battle. I have an uphill battle in trying to do self-promotion.
I feel
Maybe keeping that middle name is a good idea.
You'd
I feel
think
like
so,
this
but
is a Cassie or Tassie situation.
it took me the longest time watching those two on screen. I thought, wow, they look so similar. It took me forever to realize they were actually twins.
Right.
I didn't know they were
I
twins.
was the same thing. I was the same thing.
It baffled me. I just thought that they were two very similar looking girls. So when I was writing one of my Letterkenny spec scripts, not realizing the relationship between the performers, I had come up with this sort of hilarious notion with the two of them making out with each other and calling each other by the wrong name and saying, wait a minute, aren't you Tassie? Aren't you Cassie? Who cares? But then I found out they're twin sisters. I'm like, no, I can't write that. That's awful. That's terrible. No, even Letterkenny won't go there. So, and hit the eject switch. Boom.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Yes.
And now your ASMR moment. How's that tasting? Does that taste good? Tell me, do you like the taste?
Look how that tastes.
Stop it,
So,
Leroy.
influenzas.
Influenza. Well, first let's I'd like to talk about just quickly our last episode,
Oh, yeah.
Nudes with Renee. Had a good time. Laughed at about a lot of stuff. Everybody was high except for me. I think
That's usual.
And-
Were you pooping the party? Were you a party
no,
pooper?
I just don't. I'm a lightweight when it comes
Yeah,
to
he
anything.
passes right out.
Yeah, I mean it's no good for me. I mean, the sativas just make me freak the fuck
Yeah,
out.
I get the paranoia and the
Yeah, and then the
This is why I stick to
indicas
bourbon.
just crash me.
yeah. Indica is like a Valium for me, which is kind of awesome. Yay, being autistic and ADHD.
Oh man. So yeah, that great time with Renee. And we talked a lot about the propriety of sending out nudes and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I mean, if you want to send nudes to somebody, great. If you've gotten a nude from somebody, great.
Consent.
It's yours. It goes no
Consent.
farther than that,
Yes.
unless they tell you specifically.
If somebody, if some person with consent
Yeah.
lets themselves be vulnerable enough to share that with you, don't ruin that trust by showing it to anybody or putting it out on the internet.
Yeah.
Like that should be an easy basic rule for people.
I mean, otherwise you wind up wearing a sign that says "I'm a degen."
That's right.
But
Exactly.
also like don't send nudes to people who don't want them to. Like
Right. Well, yeah.
consent goes both ways.
True. Very true. So let's get into this deep dive of influenzas, shall we?
Influenzas.
So we start off with the cold open, of course, at Modine's. Wayne and Bonnie McMurray are talking about her dating app while Squirrely Dan listens in. Bonnie shows Wayne some of the men in her app and they all agree that they are all fuck boys. Alexander approaches the bar and starts cheering for Derry winning $10 on a lotto ticket, and that it's the same as his hourly wage. Derry thinks Alexander is teasing him, causing him to insult Alexander by saying he made the same amount sitting on his ass that Alexander would make scrubbing toilets for an hour. This sends a chill over everything, and Alexander lays into him. Derry tries to brush it off, but Alexander continues to mock him, make fun of his newfound wealth, referring to him as a fat cat and imagining him socializing with high society.
As I live and breathe, it's the Duke of Dickbagshire.
Right. In a final act of disrespect, Alexander takes Derry's lotto ticket, shoves it down his pants, wipes with it before putting it back on the bar in front of Derry.
Give my
Calling
regards
him-
to Lady Scarlet Stella Rosencrantz, you highfalutin duck fart.
Nice.
The scene ends with Wayne stating that money changes everything.
I think that was the best cold open of season 6. Season 11.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even if season 6, if this had
Sure,
been
I
in
think it beat
season
season 6. No.
Yeah.
It was all in the highfalutin duck fart.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, Alexander just marches over him. I mean, that rant from start to finish is inspired.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
I
the
mean,
actor's delivery is just perfect.
true. I mean, now the thing I'll bring this up later about Alexander because I had a thought about Alexander, but let's continue with the deep dive. Scene 1, we are in the Hick kitchen. Wayne, Katie, Squirrely Dan, and Derry are all sitting down at the kitchen table while Jev and Pete enters to apologize and make a truce. The group confronts him about his recent behavior, including buying drugs and hanging out with bad influences.
Are you still honking and hollering at girls?
Old habits die hard.
Also, what do you think, JP? Is this rock bottom?
Not if your bottom's for rock.
Heyo. So Chive and Pete admits to falling in with the wrong crowd, promises to turn over a new leaf, and asks for help finding work. The group hesitates to assist him due to financial concerns, but Wayne agrees to phone him if something comes up. Then the scene ends with Katie noticing some unfamiliar people outside. Overall, it's just, I mean, yeah. So it's interesting, yeah, that they're trying to bring Jivin' Pete back in as a friend, as he had been. So then we cut to end of the laneway, where a photographer is taking pictures of a couple at the end of the laneway. When Katie approaches her, the photographer assures Katie that they will be in the way and asks if let them know if they're bugging anyone. Katie agrees that they're not, and then the photographer continues taking pictures, instructing the couple to run down the road while looking back at her. They're running into their future. The photographer looks over again and asks Katie about the building behind them, wondering if there's anything interesting to shoot. Katie confirms there is, but initially declines to let her shoot there. The photographer offers her $50. Katie agrees to take her. Now we're inside the building where Katie takes the photographer, and the photographer is fascinated by the rustic and antique feel of the place and refers to it as a hotbed of bohemia. Katie tells us it's actually called the Murder Barn. The photographer continues to admire the place.
Dusty stuff, rusty stuff, cobwebby corners. Is that a pile of sawdust with engine oil sprayed in it?
No, I think that's blood.
No, the murder barn.
So, yeah, Murder Barn. Can I call it the Murder Barn? Making strange comments of fruitopian dystopia and fallopian Europa. Ask Katie if she knows any sister wives. She also asks if she can shoot her other clients in the barn there. Katie declines initially, but then relents after being offered another $50. Then we cut to the hockey barn. So we see we're joined by Lucianne and Marianne, who are congratulating each other on their recent success in the regional AAA squad.
Well, congratulations, Marianne.
To you as well, Lucianne.
We hold the keys to the regional AAA squad.
Call me Lindsay Roth.
Call me Mike Nocock.
No one I'd rather share the wheel with.
Except maybe Betty Ann.
Maybe Betty Ann.
Yeah, maybe Betty Ann.
Maybe Betty Ann.
But she's still off playing ball.
Yeah. So then they are approached by Sammy Jo Small and Tessa Bonhomme, Olympic gold medalists in hockey, who introduced their cousins
And one
and
silver.
offered one silver, help coach the girls team until they're ready for the Olympics. However, they have hired someone else to coach them, hired a mentor to coach the coaches, someone who's won locally, Coach. Sammy Jo Small and Tessa Bonham introduced their cousins Donatella, Raffaella, Leonarda, and Michelangela. And the coach of this, of course, responds with Cowabunga. From there, we cut to Modine's. Katie walks in, sidles up to the bar, announces that she's buying drinks for everyone. Alexander, who's sitting at the bar, jokes that he's looking for a sugar mom. McMurray's, who are very drunk, also at the bar. Katie explains the photographer came to the farm, offering to pay $50 to take pictures in her barn. She's hoping to use the money to buy a pair of Doc's. Bonnie, who is tending bar, questions whether Doc's are really worth it and would make her that guy. Mrs. McMurray wonders what's so special about Katie's barn. Katie explains that the photographer was interested in dusty stuff, rusty stuff, and cobwebby corners of the barn. Katie notices something at the bar.
You guys will have to excuse me. I've never seen that guy before, and I wonder if he likes sex with girls.
Katie then leaves the bar and goes to visit the fella. McMurrays believe they should offer up their own barn, which they claim has plenty of dusty stuff, rusty stuff, and cobwebby corners. McMurray suggests that they should poach this sumbitch, referring to the photographer. Mrs. McMurray complains about the weak pour of her drink and decides to give it back to Bonnie and says, "Take it and go." From there, back to the end of the laneway where the another photographer, it's all one photographer to me, but is at the end of the laneway, directs them on how to pose, gives them instructions for the shoot. Meanwhile, Katie receives a phone call and becomes angry. She tells the guys that the McMurrays have poached her business, as the photographer they were supposed to shoot with went with them instead. Wayne is approached by the photographer, who asks if they can shoot with their puppies, to which he reluctantly agrees, mentioning that they smell like piss. Back at the hockey barn, Coach is mentoring Lucianne and Marianne on coaching women's hockey because he knows women just as well as anybody else. The two women express their displeasure about having a man mentor them, and Coach tries to keep them focused, tells they got to keep them focused by trying to keep the girls on their toes. Tessa Bonhomme, an Olympic gold medalist, and Sammy Jo Small, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, won silver, arrive, and Coach threatens to tattle on them, to Lucianne to tattle on them, on the girls, the women. He tells the women to bench the players who don't pick up the check, go hard to the net, or get pucks deep. Lucianne and Mary and reluctantly agree to Coach's plan, and then Coach adds,
"Now, seeing as you two are job shadowing me,
You're mentoring us.
I would like a small coffee, 3 cream, 6 sugar, and some fries with gravy. And guys, gravy on the side. And a Diet Cola!"
I hope what they say about aspartame killing you is true.
From there, we briefly cut back to the murder barn, which I think is the quickest scene I've ever seen in Letterkenny. The photographer has met back with Katie with 2 new clients in tow. She lets Katie know that even though McMurray's barn is more suitable, they don't have puppies. So back at Modine's, McMurray's are grumbling over Katie and her stealing her business back. Gail returns from serving the table of new customers, to whom she refers as influenzas. The McMurrays are confused by the term, but everyone eventually realizes she means influencers. The influencers are looking for the murder barn, which is known for its dusty stuff, rusty stuff, and cobwebby corners, as well as puppies. The McMurrays eagerly approach the table and begin talking to the influencers about what they have. Then we end up at the McMurray's barn, where they are showing the influencers and proudly show off their rusty stuff, dusty stuff, cobwebby corners. But the influencers are most interested in finding the puppies. But Mrs. McMurray asks about the payment, and they ask about the puppies. They say they don't have any puppies, but suggest they have goats instead. They make approving looks from there and move on. So from there, we go out to the Dick farm, which we love the Dicks, of course.
Who doesn't love
The Hick fellas approach the Dick farm while the photographer is taking picture of a new couple in the field. Wayne asks if they can buy some of their summer sausages from the Dicks, and Anita empathizes with their cravings. Noah warns her not to eat too much sausage, and then direct the Hick fellas to where the sausage is. They also mentioned that they're doing chores in the background for a photographer who offered them $50. They want to use the money to remedy their children's poor hearing caused by generations of inbreeding. Of course, the photographer instructs the couple to blow bubbles into the camera while she takes pictures. Anita makes what seems to be a suggestive comment to Noah.
"Oh, mine husband, it's been far too long since you blew in my face."
So Wayne gets tired of the accidental sexual innuendos in their conversation, and fuck's sake. From there, we're back in the kitchen. The fellows are eating charcuterie while Katie is feeling defeated about the Dicks getting into the influencer business. Derry mentions that the influenzas think McMurray's goats are too squirrely, which prompts Katie to advertise goats that are less squirrely than McMurray's. However, she receives a phone call from the McMurrays saying Dick Skin is throwing his hat in the ring with goats that have temperament somewhere in the middle of theirs. Dick Skin is calling it honey bunches of goats, while McMurray calls his show goat. Katie then decides that hers is called as good because it's in the murder barn, murder she goat. Katie then decides she's going to compete and then asks the boys for help. Wayne suggests she gives Chivan a call, saying that everyone deserves a second chance. When a friend asks for help, you help them. Cue a montage of everyone in the town working to make their influencer enticements better than the others. Back at the end of the laneway, the photographer is taking pictures of another couple at the end of the laneway, directing the couple on how to pose for their pictures as well, getting them to loosen up and have fun, jump around, and not grimace. She receives a phone call and becomes excited about something she hears. Listen, she tells the couple that they need to leave and head to Donegal because Letterkenny is old news. Back at the hockey barn, Coach is giving advice to Lucianne and Marianne about how to handle their players, which he refers to as the Ninja Turtleettes. He suggests that they target the star players first and bench them to set an example for the rest of the players. He then proceeds to mock and make fun of the players' names and pre-game routines, ultimately revealing that he's not their real coach, but rather a hazing prank by the Olympic gold medalists Sammy Jo Small and Tessa Bonhomme. The scene ends with Lucy Ann and Marianne excited about their upcoming game, making car-related puns and telling Coach that he needs to bench himself. And we end at Modine's, where Katie and the McMurrays are sitting there feeling defeated. Katie offers to buy drinks, and McMurray questions what Donegal has that their town doesn't. Gail suggests that they have a craft brewery.
Oh.
Bonnie mentions that they also have a gin distillery. Oh no! Katie follows up that they have a bison farm, a general store, and Mexican Mennonites.
Is that for real?
Those even exist. Anyway, the group discusses the quirks of Donegal visitors, including their Influenzas love of chamomile tea, gummy vitamins, as well as their tendency to take videos of themselves. Gail spots Noah Dick entering the bar, and he informs them that a pornographic film crew has approached him and his wife to perform chores in the background while they have two actors fornicate in the foreground. He has, of course, kicked them off and made them go away, but he leaves the bar then, and then the group, after a pause, goes and gives chase, asking them about the type of car they were driving and if they got the names or anything like that. Cue credits. So that's what that was all about. Now, the thing I wanted to bring up about Alexander real quick was he's not a slow learning cousin that Joint Boy had him pegged at in the first season.
Right.
So he is obviously very smart. So he
gets some of the best cold opens. I mean, remember the one where he shows up and he's talking about he has to put together the buck and dough for his cousin. He says,
Right.
"Oh, my cousin's a grump and his sweetie's a twat."
Yeah.
And remember when I said he's a grump and she's a twat? The numbers reflect that. He's
He does
very
kind of get some of the best
numbers
ones.
reflect that.
He's very sharp.
He is. He's on it. So, I mean, he may not be in the best of situations for himself, but
But he's
yeah,
happy with what he does.
definitely.
You know,
He is
not
more
ashamed to make $10 an hour.
he's
cleaning
more
toilets.
he is more than content with his lot in life, it seems.
Yeah.
So
We can all
What
be
you
so
do, you
lucky.
never work a day in your life.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me get through my a few thoughts, and then I'll let y'all take over. So I've brought up here before about Katie's ongoing trope of just hating things, which she doesn't seem to do so much this episode, interestingly. But Derry seems to be the one to be the asshole of the group always.
Yeah.
Always seems to be against the grain, starting shit when he thinks he's being made fun of. He's just very sensitive. And yeah, like with the dick. So what the fuck you got going on? And the Wayne and Dan look over at him like, what the fuck? And even Anita looks at him with this
Very stern look, yeah.
So I think that's interesting. I have a question. Why docs?
Thank you.
Why not a new bikini,
But
short
also-
jorts, an ounce of weed?
But also, what does it mean by being that guy? And I
Yeah.
have 3 pairs of Doc Martens in the other room.
I got 2 pair under my desk over here.
What kind of guy does that make me?
Well, as
cute
Katie
guy.
says, I'm not that guy unless they're purple.
Right.
I mean, I've had purple ones. I've had red ones.
True.
I did grow up in the 90s in Seattle, and I pretty much still dress like that. So, to be fair to myself.
To be fair. But anyway, yeah, docs seem rather a random thing.
And they're honestly not like super expensive.
No.
If she'd had 3 Influenzas for $50 each, that's a pair of docs right there. At least, unless she wants like, what was it? They were stacked and like 12 hole and like, yeah, no, you can get a pair of docs for under $200 in Canada.
Yeah. And you probably
so
want to
Katie with her scheme to get her docs, the bit with the murder barn. Do we really think it's called the murder barn, or was she just tweaking them? Was she just basically jerking their chain?
No, I think
I think they call it that. That's probably where they have to.
Because it seems like she seemed very flippant about it.
Like
We
when they
call it
say,
the
"Is
murder
this motor oil poured over soda?" She goes, "No, that's blood."
No, it's blood. Yeah,
thing
it
is,
seemed too like mundane to her. Like she was like, nah, yeah.
But the thing is, we haven't seen any indication up until now that Wayne and Katie's farm deals in livestock. So far, we've only seen that they deal in agriculture, not livestock. So
Yeah.
if they're not dealing in livestock, why do they have a murder barn? Unless they're actually killing people.
I mean-
there's a whole thing that's hinted at here that we don't even want to dig into.
Maybe that's where their parents were killed.
That's why they mentioned that's where they mentioned my favorite murder at the beginning of the series. Like they're hoping that all the serial killer people out there are like, murder barn. What happened at the murder barn?
Murder barn.
Murder barn. Dark web.
Murder barn. Dark web sex in
Dark web sex in the murder barn. So good.
Oh yeah. So anyway, a couple of observations. No Rosie, Glenn, Riley, and Jonesy are skids in this episode. Betty Ann is still away. And the way the boys are just holding their charcuterie creations in front of their faces without eating them that entire time. They're talking to Kathy. What the fuck is going on with my brain? And
Hey,
Katie,
I fumbled which season we were
Wow.
in. I mean,
I'm
it's
the
something going
one
around.
who got high here. What are you doing, Dean?
Anyway,
I mean, I'm
K
lit
words.
up. I'm a couple of drinks into the evening. So.
Katie, wow, Jesus. But anyway, yeah. So that's all I've got. So bring it.
All right. Yeah, so like first off, I wrote docs aren't that expensive. But what is Jive and Pete's definition of a friend?
Yeah,
he
like,
calls
how
them
does
his friends. Like, you guys is my friends. So, and when a friend asks for help, like
what's in this for him? Like, is he actually hit bottom? Because he doesn't seem to really care that much. He's still a screw up, as we see.
Yeah.
Not to spoil anything, but as we see in the next episode, he's not really that committed to this. He doesn't feel like he's terribly committed. Like, he's showing up to work for Katie, and he's still dressed like a slob. He still looks like the human personification of the toilet and the sink at Dan's second cousin's house.
Yes, the en-suites.
The ensuite. You use the ensuite?
Oh.
There are Subway wrappers next to the toilet. There are visible rings of blood in the sink, the bathtub, and the toilet.
it's lovely. It's lovely.
And a glory hole. You know, on the goat pen. You win.
Anyway, T.
I see one.
I see one.
Oh, I see one. So that was the photographer, right?
Yeah.
When Katie came out. I sometimes I look at my own notes and I'm like, okay, I remember what was I thinking when I wrote the note? So, what's a luxury lane?
I've never heard of that term before.
So
I wonder if it's their version of the HOV lane. Maybe that's what they call it.
Okay.
What was the context for it?
So Luciana and Marianne, when they're telling themselves, like,
check your blind spots.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So basically, like, are we going to take? I thought it does. Are we going to take the easy way, or are we going to do it?
Are you going to take the lane of least resistance?
Yeah.
We take the luxury lane.
Which
maybe it doesn't mean a damn thing. Maybe it's just fun to say.
Could be luxury lane.
I love the whole bit with coach telling them to bench the players. It's like, and why? It's like every stupid arbitrary reason. What'd you have for lunch? Spaghetti. Empty carbs. Benched.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get your nap? 29 minutes right after lunch. No, you turned it into fat. Benched. Who was the best M in the James Bond movies? Dame Judy. Benched.
Mecca-licka-ha. Mecca-licka angels in the outfield. Anyway.
So in the scene when Katie goes to hit on that dude in the bar, I love that she's looking at him and like thinking he's cute. He's there taking selfies. Like, he's like doing it for like Tinder or something.
This is
like,
a
that was
guy
what my
huffing his
first
own
brain did.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Getting high on his own supply.
Yeah.
Coach picked his nose several times during this
He did.
episode.
He just
Okay.
doesn't care.
Right.
Look away, Barb. This is rock bottom.
McMurray and Gail flirting.
Oh.
So, I
Put your
mean, I
finger
know
up
it wasn't
my
like,
ass.
yeah, I know it wasn't outright, but McMurray's face after Gail said, put a finger up her ass, he was like, "Ooh, I'm into it." Like,
Well, the thing is, we know from
we know
the hot tub
they've
episode,
we know
they've hooked up with her
We
before.
know they've hooked up. I really want to know how often. Like, I want to know if they're like fuck buddies. Like, I just
No
feel
ass
like
play unless I ask for it, and I will.
And I will.
ask
And I will
for it.
ask.
For it.
My safe word is.
Oh, that's right. I
I
remember.
love Gail
that
so much.
episode. The Letterkenny weave.
When Coach when Coach finds out that it was basically a prank or a hazing for the
Oh,
women
God,
coaches, and they're like, "What was your name again?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No answer. He just
Because
like,
of course
walks
he
off.
has no name.
So great. That was so great. Okay, and then so those were my random notes as I was watching. Now I have all of the notes.
Notes.
Why is Derry so thin-skinned with Alexander? Why is he a jerk lately? Huntington Beach.
Oh, that was great.
I'm using that shit. That's so good. Driving Pete getting Derry's name wrong.
Darnell.
Is Driving Pete the third guy with the ostrich?
We don't know, but allegedly.
It kind of sounded like that.
I wouldn't be
with,
surprised. I mean,
Could
he
be,
said he
could
was
be.
hanging out with Ginger and Boots. So
and he like seemed genuinely like, I felt
Shaken.
like bad crowd. I would like to state for the record that I hate occur. I fucking hate that.
Occur.
I hate it. I hate it in
I believe you were supposed to.
every rapper that's I love Nicki Minaj. I don't like occur. Oh yeah, no, don't do it.
Although I love the reaction of the guy when the photographer is telling them to, jump up and kick
Yes.
differently, and the guy just can't see it, and you just tell him he's just
The one who
so
looked like
frustrated.
Tyson,
He's
but
like, I'm gonna kill
grumpier.
this woman. I'm gonna
Grumpy
kill her."
Tyson.
Grumpy Tyson.
The grumpy. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna kill her.
Yeah, he just looked so uncomfortable and like standing there, like he had his shoulders up, and he just was like, Ugh.
He's so stiff. It's like he can't move. There's no fluidity, and that's
And
half
that's
the
what
joke.
happens when you wear a Proud Boy shirt.
It was very Proud Boy.
That's why when you build muscles to the point where you look like a balloon animal.
Yes.
I mean, but he was wearing Birkenstocks.
Oh my God.
With socks.
No, he didn't have socks
Oh,
on.
okay. I thought he had socks.
But that's a funny look. I mean,
Definitely. What got said at the previous location?
yeah. So yeah,
We're gonna forget what we said at the previous location.
Mhm.
Okay. I want to hear that story.
yeah. So, and if you don't, do you remember that part when they were at that's when Katie came out initially,
Yes.
and
And the photographer was trying to get the couple to
be like they're in love.
Yeah.
That's what she said. We're
Forget
gonna
what we
forget
said.
what
at the
we said.
location.
Yeah. So I'm curious what was said. Don't act like you're in love, or
yeah.
what
Or
would
just forget. Maybe the couple had a fight, so she's trying to get them to forget
That's
what
what I
they
was
said to each
thinking,
other.
something like that.
I get the impression the situation deteriorated.
Yeah.
maybe so.
If you're fighting when you're getting your engagement pictures done, maybe you should think a little bit more.
Well, if your photographer says occur,
and gracias.
gracias. Listen, okay.
Listen, okay. I almost want to do a table read because I feel like I could do her voice. Like as
You
soon
know
as I
what would be
just
a
said that, I was
great-
like, oh God, but I would hate every second of it.
What would be a great face-off would be that annoying photographer faced off with the matchmaker.
Yes.
Bola
Oh,
Lealier, occur. Just watch the two of them drive each other up a wall. See which one
so
breaks
much.
first.
And then they kiss.
Of course.
I hope they do more with Marianne and Lucienne.
Yes. Agreed.
I want to know more about the coaching. Are they going to have any personalities on this team? Like, are we actually going to know anything about the Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtlettes, whatever.
I'm sure they'll get their own spin-off any day now.
Yes. What kind of guy is a docs guy? The way everyone looked at Derry when he swore. Oh, right. The complete and then compete that Katie said.
And then
Yes.
you do the hard zoom in.
The hard
and then
zoom
they
in.
just hold.
Compete.
Yeah.
How?
I mean, so yeah, and that's kind of goes back to my thing about the tropes in this season.
Yeah.
They love to blow them up.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many tropes this season. I mean, their own tropes and standard TV film tropes.
Yep. Like I take
one
the
of the
cliches that we associate with, like, you know, the hard cut, the zoom in, and it's going to be okay. And that sets up the montage. We hard cut,
right?
And then it doesn't happen, and you're like, and what?
How?
Right?
How?
How?
I don't know.
I don't know. We were supposed to be in a montage now.
Gonna need a montage. One of the couples in this was a gay couple, and it was the Mennonite scene, which I loved that because that meant the Mennonites were like, they didn't want people fornicating, but they were okay with a gay couple getting married, and that made me happy. So during the montage where they kept making the farm signs bigger and, you know, decorating and whatever, why did Mrs. McMurray throw birdseed at the wind chime?
Well, there was a bird feeder at the top of it.
Was it? She threw it though. She didn't put seed in there.
It's
She
because,
threw it
because she's drunk and can't climb up.
And she's not the brightest bulb to begin with.
True.
I was so confused at first. I was like, did she throw glitter? I had to go back and look. Okay, it's birdseed. And then Bonnie's smiling as everyone runs after Noah Dick. Like she knew as soon as he came in that something like that was going to happen.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I got to be honest, this episode, it was hard to find stuff to like bring up. Really, there wasn't a lot of meat in it.
No,
So,
I mean, it has the great cold open because of Alexander and just that rant that he unleashes on Derry. And then after that, I gotta say, it's not one of the stronger episodes of the season. Although, to be honest, season 11 has felt weird. There's a weirdness to the
we've
whole
talked
thing.
about that. We've talked about that on the show a bunch because we know that 10 and 11 were filmed together at the same time,
How about
and it
11
was
and
during
12?
COVID. Oh, that's the current ones. But they filmed two at the same time during the pandemic, and this was part of it, wasn't it, Dean?
I thought so. I thought it was 10 and 11.
Was it 10 and 11?
I thought so.
I thought so. I
But it was
thought
11 and
12 was just filmed, like just finished filming not that long ago, right?
I can Google that.
I appreciate that. Because like to me, that's why I feel like this was a lot of. I feel like there's less cohesion in this season because it was shot that way during the time that it was, and then they were basically like, we can't make this fit, and we've lost the storyline, so make something else out of it.
I guess what I'm doing is I'm comparing it to past seasons. And I'm seeing like in past seasons, there was almost like a through line to each season. Like in second season, they even spell it out for you in the opening episode where Wayne says, if there's a theme to the next 6 weeks of our life, it's Wayne is looking for love. That's like, and that's the theme of season 2. And then you have each season has its own sort of personality or its own arc. It's about this relationship coming together, this relationship falling apart. It's about this or that, and then you get to 11.
Yeah,
there's no through line. What we have are 6 almost completely dissociated episodes, and they're only like the hint of a through line with Influenzas and Degens, where you set up the Jive and Pete storyline and then pay it off. And I guess you can even say that started up in news.
The Jive and Pete story. Jive and Pete was the most through line of this, like because he showed up in earlier episodes. In an earlier episode in the season, I think, right?
Well, I mean, was he part of Lost Dog?
I don't even remember.
I mean, he was part of Nudes because
he was part of Nudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
So
three.
like, that's where I think that's where
he
they
starts.
started
This was the
through
last
line
3
for the season.
episodes. He's part of the arc
Yeah.
for the last 3, but he's not in the first 3. He's not
So
in Lost
yeah.
Dog. He's not in Okoye, and he's not in Chips.
Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like those were
But I think
standalone episodes almost.
and like I stated at the very top of the season, I think the through line for this season is tropes.
Yeah.
It's all I mean, starting at
Instead of having a
Yeah, I
storyline
guess
through.
I see what you're saying. Like Okoye mocks the whole Agatha Christie mystery style.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The whole mystery trope. What's Lost Dog then?
Lost
Aside from the
Dog.
tutorial for how to actually find a lost dog.
I'm not.
A lot of the stuff wasn't like storyline tropes. It was things that would happen in the story and tropes that their own tropes that they would bring back. You know, all of the sayings have been popping up again and stuff like that. So it's not so much that the stories themselves are the tropes; it's all the things inside of it.
Yeah. But that was also and that may have just been one of those that they kind of took off as well, where it had Wayne, and in fact, even in this one, the boys took a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the second one where that's happened. So I mean, I'm wondering if there's some change up that it feels like. I don't know if another spin-off is coming or what, but I mean, it feels different. But yeah, for me, I mean, from the very beginning of this, you know, with the way they were doing the debate and I'm going to need to take some air,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all that stuff, and then through the Okoye and geez, what
Lost
else?
Dog.
Yeah, Lost Dog, Nudes. So yeah, having that comedic trope where you're talking about somebody who happens to be right there when they're talking about look into Jim Dickskin,
right?
And he's right there. So
I will think twice before accepting your invitation to a hot dog party. Just so mean. Just so mean.
And I would thank them for
right.
But yeah, to me, there's a whole lot of tropes. I mean, yeah, like the quick cut or the quick zoom on the compete, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And montages galore. So there, all that kind of stuff is, I think this season has really stuck out more to me than others.
That they're really like pushing on the trope part.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong.
I mean, that's interesting if that's the through line, if it's more of a stylistic through line rather than a thematic through line. It's just that in the past, their through lines have tended to be narrative in nature, and this is more stylistic.
True.
Yeah. I
Nothing
really
wrong with
think
that. It's just
my opinion, which absolutely could be wrong and probably is, that they filmed all of this stuff during COVID, and
I did look that up. 10, 11 were filmed right together.
So I feel like because the pandemic kept going and going and going, and it took so long for them to actually get 10 out, that they didn't maybe film everything that they had wanted to, but they couldn't go back and like add more scenes later. So I feel like it was probably some confluence of, how much can we, with COVID restrictions, how much can we film? And
how much the launch of Shorzy cut into this, because 10, the whole episode with, Vidvok, with Wayne driving the Zamboni. I mean, a lot of that was the handoff for Shorzy, setting up Shorzy's spin-off series. And then it sounds like the spin-off series was probably shot during that same period of time then as season 11. And I wonder if this is a case of just divided focus, because the focus on Shorzy is clearly very intense and very tight. And the thematic structure and the narrative structure of 6 episodes of Shorzy is just rock solid. I mean, that is a tight construction. And then you compare it to season 11 of Letterkenny, which is just as loose a construction as I've ever seen on this show. I've never seen a season as just narratively loose and sort of free flowing as 11.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I mean, with the boys taking a back seat to a lot of it in this season, heavy focus on jiving. Maybe they're making a Degen spinoff.
No, I would not watch that.
No, I would not.
Like, you got me to begrudgingly watch Shorzy Kiso. Like, don't push it with the Degens.
Hey,
like,
maybe he's got something good for the Degens.
Nope, no.
No.
You can make something good out of Shorzy because it's just his mouth. Like, the Degens do shit to people that just because they want to piss them off. Like, that's not. I don't want that. I don't want. No.
But
I don't want to
thought
see the Degens.
What's that?
I don't want to see the Degens.
Yeah, I don't want to see them. Like,
I just want to see them get their asses kicked.
Skids run Skids spinoff. I would watch the hockey women's spinoff.
I mean, I don't know that the Skids need a spinoff. I think I'm still waiting for Stuart to get his justice, and get his happy ending. Everybody else seems to have been sort of getting their their karmic reward, and it seems like he's the one who keeps getting left behind.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Roldy is his karmic reward,
and he doesn't realize it yet.
Yeah, he has somebody devoted to him. Not that necessarily they'll end up together and in love, but
I think Gay has to come back.
He loves the gay sex.
He loves the gay sex. Gay sex made him feel like a He-Man.
Right.
It made him feel something deep inside.
Who doesn't love gay sex? Yep. I mean, come on.
Must he torture me with these reflections?
I mean, he was doing okay when he was getting all jacked up and everything, working out with JB
modeling
and Alley Cat, and then they betrayed him, and he just seems to have taken a bad string of hits, a lot of bad luck in a row here.
Yeah,
and losing the whole Vidvoc thing, and he just seems like he could use a break.
Yeah, he needs to quit fucking up, though.
He needs to get his shit. He needs to.
He puts himself in a lot of that. So
yeah, a lot of it is because he's
smarter than everybody else.
He's driven by envy and rage.
True,
and he's got to move past that and find some Zen center, or else he can't heal.
Very true.
He can't heal. He can't move on.
Very true.
Yeah, that's because that was one of the things I was thinking about for a future episode. That maybe Stuart and Roldy go into rehab together or something like that.
Well, I feel like believe it or not, I think the thing that's holding Rolled back is Stuart.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Stuart needs to get his own shit together so he can move on, and then get out of Rolled's way so Rolled can basically become the skid leader he was meant to be and open the Menergy Spa.
Yes.
We need a Menergy Spa.
Spa and dispensary.
Yeah. Exactly. The Menergy Spa and dispensary.
Do what you know.
Yeah.
Do what you love. You never work a day in your life.
Exactly. So we have anything else on board for thoughts, theories, observations, trivia, anything like that?
Not I.
By the way, one bit of trivia: Sammy Joe Small and Tessa Bonham did play together.
I totally made him go down that rabbit hole because I was like, the relationship that they have, I feel like this wasn't just like all total setup. Like they have to have known each other.
They're about 10 years apart in age, though.
But they played on the same hockey team at the same time. Yeah.
I saw the picture of Tessa Bonham's picture of her draft.
Baby.
She's so friggin' adorable.
She was a baby.
Yeah, she was. I mean, now she's just hot, but yeah. So let's. What do you say we do a little bit of the as many of you know, this is the Fuck Fight Ferta segment of the show where we don't want to kill anybody, we don't want to marry anybody, but we will fuck, fight, and make them our buddies. And
buddy, I'll be your buddy.
I'll be your buddy.
I'll be your pal. What are we even doing?
This is our version of Fuck, Marry, Kill. But we do it right. We keep the fuck in there because that's important.
Yeah, always got to keep the fuck in there.
That's right. So as we
work all day to make a buck, you're not going to work all night to find a fuck.
exactly.
Right?
Thank you, Bonnie
That was a
McMurray.
good line too.
That's yeah. I love Bonnie this season. Bonnie's awesome.
Bonnie
She's getting
McMurray.
better and better.
Yep. Now that she's
So-
no longer pining after Wayne.
Right.
Yes.
And has a lot of her own agency.
Yep.
Has a personality.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of Wayne, Wayne. Ferda Wayne.
Ferda Wayne.
All right. David.
What about?
Huh?
What about it?
Yeah. Are you fight or Ferda on Wayne?
Oh, Ferda.
You sure about that?
I don't
Are
want
you
to fight
sure?
him. I'll tell you that.
And
he's a good enough guy. And we can have a beer.
Yeah, I'm Ferda on Wayne as well. Katie.
Definite fuck.
I can't disagree with you there. I like her in this episode. She's kind of take charge. She's not too Haiti on things in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So fuck for you. All right. Katie's cleaning house. Squirrely's Dan's. I mean, for me, he's a Ferda in this one. I mean,
Yeah, he's
He's a
not.
Ferda.
Yeah.
all right. Derry is a fight for me.
Yeah, Derry's got to get for nothing else, but how he talked to Alexander deserved to be
Yeah.
put on his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He should
yeah.
be sitting in the trash behind.
I think
Logan.
we're all across the board. We're all the
Yep.
same so far. Yep.
Exactly. Gaylor.
Huh.
Besides telling them to put a finger up her butt, was there another Gale scene that I'm not remembering?
Just talking about the influenza. She's the one who mistook it for influenzas.
Right. Okay.
I guess I'd have to label her a Ferda just because she scares me a little.
That's what I like about her.
I say Ferda in this too because
Yeah.
seeing the face between her and McMurray reminded me that they fucked. And
Bonnie.
Bonnie is always going to be in the fuck category.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the
Bonnie
fuck
now.
on this one as well. She's a fucking boss, and I love it. And
still Ferda. I'm still Ferda.
the one where we break.
I like Bonnie. I like that she's turning into a human, but I can't see her as anything but like the same age as my kid. It just can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Well-
we should let the paint dry a little, but
Well, the paint's been drying enough for her
The
to
paint's
go
well
on
dry.
her life.
there's a
Just
nice
not
shallow
for me.
lacquer.
It's just not for me. Just not for me.
She's a nice enough gal, but
Exactly.
you can have a beer.
So McMurray.
Fight. Poacher.
Yeah.
Jackass.
Yeah.
General,
fight.
just a general
He
jackass.
stole
most of the
Katie's
time.
idea, knowing that
Yeah,
like
I mean, I would
she was
lose
trying
that
to
fight,
raise
but I would
money.
have to
Yeah.
take it just out of honor.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch would bash my face in. He's a killer.
Mrs. McMurray.
Oh,
That's all I know.
so I know. That's all I'm saying. Damn.
Yeah, she's
I
a fight
gotta
for me.
admit, I just
Fight.
have a massive crush on.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Oh
But
yeah.
in this particular episode,
Yeah.
yeah, you just want to throw a
Right.
drink in her face just for a
Yes.
dissing
Give her a-
Bonnie in the bar.
give her a nice Katie
participating
kick.
in- Yeah, basically what she does to Katie, and just basically being a mess. I don't know that I want to fight her, but I think she should definitely get her G&T thrown in her face.
Yeah. That's a fight for
Yeah, legit.
That's a fight. I would do that, and then McMurray would kill me. So
Alexander.
Ferda,
He'd be funny to hang out with, I think.
I would have his back because if Derry got in his face, man, I'd be like, Derry, you got to sit the fuck down. You don't come to my boy
What
Alexander.
the fuck
You
is
sit
wrong with
down.
you? Yeah.
Fuck you,
I would
Derry.
be doing the thing he did at the dick farm. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Marianne. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love her.
Always.
I want to put my hands in her hair so bad.
Oh yeah. And just pull it.
Yes. Oh my god.
She can conquer me anytime she likes.
Definitely.
She can bench me as long as she sits on top of me.
That's right. Exactly. Press me into the bench. Lucianne.
Yes, mommy. Same. Yeah.
For me, she'd be a Ferda. I'm hot for Marianne, not so much for Lucienne.
All right.
I like Lucienne, I'm just not that way.
Yeah, I'm taking her. Coach.
Fight.
Just because he's clearly being an abusive prick.
Right.
Like, if he was just clueless, like it seems like he is sometimes, that would be one thing. But like, that was like straight up misogyny. It was just that's not endearing or cute or funny.
Right.
Yeah, he deserves
Like-
to have a some laxative tablets melted into his gravy with his fries. I kept the gravy separate for you, Coach. Make sure you just lap that up.
I don't know if you can hear it, Dean, but
I hear shadow
okay.
whining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, is that coming through? That's coming through, isn't it?
I think it's just coming. I don't think it's coming through your mic. I think it's just coming through the door. But
Okay.
anyway, Noah's Dicks.
Always a Ferda. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there too. Mrs. McMurray or Mrs.
Anita.
Mrs. Dick.
Mrs. Dick.
Mrs. Dick.
I have such a thing for her.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh my gosh, total fuck.
Yeah.
She would never
Yeah.
go for it, but oof. And Noah would be quite.
Imagine if she would. I feel like Noah would be like a cuckold husband. He would be totally okay to sit in a corner and watch.
Yeah. My wife,
mine
may I watch?
If my wife wanted it.
I want to blow on her face.
Oh my god, yeah. Oof.
All right. Now
Nikki
just this episode only.
Ugh.
Jive and Pete.
Just this episode only. Ferda.
He's trying.
He's trying.
He wants to be better. He's a fuck up at heart, but
Yeah.
in this episode, he gets a Ferda. We know it's probably, we all know what happens. And it's not going to
We're
work out.
hoping that it doesn't.
But
Right.
here, I was rooting for him. I was really
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
hoping, maybe there's a redemption story for this guy.
He was a
I
real good
really,
guy.
I really hope that he would pull it together and, not disappoint Wayne in the crowd. But
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But
Can't
in
win
this
them all.
episode, Ferda, the hope was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The photographer.
Fight.
Fight. To just want to take her camera and just fling it across the road into the green brush and make her go look for it.
Go get it. Listen, go get it. Okur.
Okay.
I just want to talk to her.
Hey, you know what an F stop
I
is?
have
That's
a
when I tell you to
conversation.
fucking stop.
I just want to have a conversation about appropriative language and like
Yeah.
I just want to talk reasonably with her for a minute.
Let's have a little
Okur.
chat.
You know what shutter speed is? That's when you shut your mouth. Quickly.
Great minds.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Sammy Joe Small.
That's the hockey professional, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna
It's got to
say-
be a Ferda. I mean, the woman's a legend.
I'm gonna say Ferda. I think they are both gorgeous, but honestly, like as a not fan of hazing, it did not feel good.
Coach deserved
that
it though.
Coach may have deserved it, but did Marianne and Lucienne deserve it?
No, but
Mm.
at least they got to have front row tickets to see Coach
That is true.
get shit on.
That is true.
So Tessa Bonhomme.
Ferda. I mean,
I'm
gorgeous.
I'm fucking Tessa. That
Yeah,
you
goes
get
with-
that
that's
chance,
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, they're both gorgeous. It's
She's
just,
hot.
this
Tessa,
episode-
though, I'm going for Tessa.
Yeah. Now he didn't have any lines in this. Jim Dickens.
Was he in this one somewhere?
Yeah, he was during the montage.
Oh, that's right, because he has the honey bunches of goats
Right.
elements
Yeah.
of the competition.
So I don't know if we want to count him or not.
No, well, he's just trying to make a buck like anybody else. He wasn't
Yeah.
particularly malicious about it. He just had
No.
pleasant goats.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlike the McMurrays, which specifically took this idea and totally poached it.
Mhm.
At that point, it's just
It's
like,
fair game at that point.
yeah, it's,
Meanwhile, I will never say no to Cassie and Tassie.
Yeah, because that was my next one, Cassie and Tassie. I mean, because they're together. They're essentially like the Riley and Jonesy.
yeah.
They share one brain cell between them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is fine. They're easily confused, but that's fine.
They don't know which one is which.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stuck on that one.
So,
I'm
you're,
kind
you-
of-
so
I'm
you're,
not saying
you're a
you
fuck
keep
with
them.
I
him.
hate.
You're a fuck with him, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate influencers desperately.
Yeah, they bug me.
Yeah. so part of me wants to fight, but also like I don't really think they did anything wrong. And I feel like in some ways they were being suckered because it was just, these people fighting amongst each other to give money to them. Like, anyway.
If they got $50 to throw around for taking pictures.
Right, I'll take it, but like
I'll take some pictures of them.
Oh my.
So I guess I don't know. I guess Ferda. We'll go with Ferda.
Ferda.
They didn't do anything wrong. I just don't like them.
Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I am with them as well. They've always bugged me. They're pretty.
But they're also fickle.
Yeah, they're
treacherous, as we saw when they're the
Yes.
reason that Bro Dude got called in on Indian Energy at the end of season 9. It wouldn't have happened if they hadn't. Then again, they only did it because they were ticked off at Riley and Jonesy for being a pair of twits.
being Riley and Jonesy.
For being Riley and Jonesy. Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. But I think, did I miss anybody? I don't think I did.
I think that pretty much covers it.
There was a good number of characters in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, which explains why so many, there's no Glenn, there's no Riley and Jonesy, and no Rosie.
But we got most of our secondary characters.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was interesting to see that many characters in there. I mean, I include Jim Dickens because he was part of that montage. So but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was, it was not meaty, but it had some good funny parts, some good lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think I enjoyed the hockey storyline with the girls more than the actual influencer storyline that provides the title.
Yeah. Anytime I get to watch Marianne and Betty Ann or Marianne and Lucy Ann, it's always enjoyable. I do miss the chirps. There was one thing we know about it is that oh my God, why am I forgetting her name now?
Betty Ann?
Marianne's
real name.
The actress's name. We interviewed Jess
Alguero.
Alguero. Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Wow. That she is known for not being able to hold her laughing in during the chirps. So, and I did see a couple of spots in there where she was trying.
She makes this like smile, like
yeah,
this is fun.
Yeah,
like she's like, I'm not gonna smile.
Yeah, she kind of
tries
to look mean.
It's adorable.
But yeah, that's I like that. So yeah, I would like to see some chirps. Maybe they're playing again and they're going against somebody where they're chirping at them.
Maybe they get lucky and there'll be some in a future table read or something.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Maybe they joined Beer League.
Oh yeah, co-ed beer league, and they're going against right.
Oh shit! I think I see a new episode happening. I could. By the time I'm done, I'm just going to write a whole season.
There you
It'll
go.
never get made.
That's okay.
Beer league.
We'll do it at a table read.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, we still got the one that's in the queue.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. And
a beer league. I'm going to start thinking about beer league.
Beer league. Broads and beer league.
Right.
The broads.
Like they'll walk in and they'll start making fun of each other, thinking that they're girlfriends, and then they gear up and come out on the floor. Like,
right.
They've actually won stuff. You guys are just old news here. And
I mean, yeah, it would be funny if there were girls in the stands who were there for their girls.
Yes.
and then, but the girls the girls skating are the ones hollering at them to get the. Hey, Snipies! Hey, and nobody knows who's sniping who. So.
A team of sober shamrockettes basically beats the living crap out of a beer league team. That could be hilarious.
Totally.
Sometimes you get speed bag, boys, and sometimes you just get drunk.
There you go. So, any final thoughts? Anything?
No.
I know that they've recently started filming for Shoresy, season 2, which is really awesome. We know
they put out a call for
extras. Done. Mm-hmm. I don't know. With feeling like with feeling like this season wasn't necessarily the most thought out, in terms of how it making it feel like previous seasons with the continuous storylines. I do hope that they start closing some of the storylines. Not that I want Letterkenny to end, but I feel like there's a lot of open ends right now
that
that
it's
haven't
nigh.
been. Yeah, it feels like, I don't think it's gonna be next year or maybe even like 2 or 3 years from now, but like I feel like Kiso has it in his head now where that's gonna go now that Shorzy, because we know that Shorzy is like his dream project that he's working on.
Yeah.
So, I love Letterkenny, and it pains me to say that I like Shorzy better now. But I definitely hope that it has a little more cohesion as it goes forward.
I mean, I like the focus of Shorzy, but I mean, it's an unfair comparison. There's only 6 episodes
absolutely
of Shorzy to work with. But it's interesting, like how brilliantly they all work. It's like you have the first episode, which can stand on its own as an intro. But then episodes 2 and 3, you've got to watch them together. Because if you get to the end of 2 and you don't roll right into 3, you're probably going to be disappointed. I feel like you got to go 2 right into 3 and maybe right all the way into 4. Like 2, 3, and 4 just have to happen. Boom, boom, boom. And then 5 and 6 are like their own thing at the end. They're like another 2-parter. So you got like your 1-part open, you got your 3-part middle, and you got your 2-part finish.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the writing on these two is drastically different. I mean, there are those little skit parts like in Letterkenny within some of the stories, those are kind of where that would be the backstory. There's some little skitty things going on in the back that are not really part of the story, but that's just a tiny bit, just the
wordplay. Like Letterkenny will sometimes do these tangents for wordplay that are just a delight in and of themselves. And Shorzy does not take that kind of luxury. It's a more narratively focused project. It doesn't have just these just irreverent asides that sort of go off on their own. Everything sort of seems to serve the story on Shorzy. It's very tight. Yeah. Whereas Letterkenny sometimes feels like a vehicle, sometimes for story and sometimes for, and here's the latest word game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also, it feels like a sketch comedy, which for me personally, I have a love-hate relationship with comedy in general, especially sitcom comedy. So, like Letterkenny for me is like this breath of fresh air when it comes to comedy because it's clever. It doesn't dumb it down for the audience. It's beautiful. And all of the characters, it's really wonderful. It works together really well. And so that's why I love Letterkenny. But because I'm not a huge comedy fan, loving the way that they did Shorzy.
Oh yeah.
Really just like it was like 2 steps up of the visual beauty that I feel like I've seen from the same creators on Letterkenny. Like Letterkenny will set up some beautiful shots that you're like, oh yeah, I can see, the Shakespearean pageantry of like this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then you've got Shorzy that's just
the beauty
of beautiful.
The beauty of Letterkenny is in the color saturation. Well, a lot of them done in post. Like they have just these amazing, rich reds and greens and blues. There's an amazing shot. It's I think it's I can't remember if it's start of season 3 or season 4. It's when Wayne is doing his time in the shed after being betrayed, and he's watching the misfire.
Right.
And there's a great shot when he comes out in the second episode. I think of it might be season 4. Is that right? Season 4, season 5? I can't remember anymore. But he comes out after watching Misfire, and it's just the most gorgeous shot because you've got like this blue sky, you've got the green lush foliage around them, you've got bright yellow insulation around the frame of the door and the frame of the window on the sled shed, And then you've got the different colors. You got the blue of Derry's coveralls. You've got the colors that Dan is wearing. You got the colors in everybody's clothes. And everybody's wearing a different color. Somebody's wearing yellow. Somebody's wearing green. Somebody's wearing blue. And then there's the fire. And it's like everything. You look at the shot, and it's like a rainbow of color. It's just intense. They don't go quite over the top like that on Shoresy. Shoresy has a more realistic color palette,
right?
But its compositions and its editing and its angles are far more sophisticated. Its camera movement is also a lot more sophisticated.
Yeah, and I love that Buttrey does both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's really good.
By the way, Misfire was season 8, episode 1.
So it's later than I was thinking. You're right, season 8, because that's after the Marie Fred story. Right.
Yep.
So but that shot like really sort of encapsulates the way they use color to really just make all those images pop. But Shoresy, goddamn, it's just so intense the way it all pulls together. It's like, and it's this beautiful blend of comedy and pathos. I'm always a sucker for any well-told story about a lovable bunch of underdogs, especially if they're up against it. And like I watched the end of this thing. It's like, and you can see the anguish in Shoresy's face, and like the final episode where he's like, "We're not going to win this. It was our last game in this barn," and they're going out on the ice and they give it their all. And it's like there's that thing like where they're being cheered by the crowd, even though they've lost, and they salute the crowd with their stick. I get choked up every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's just an incredibly emotionally moving thing that gets me in the heart every time. And I'm like, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah, that was, aside from the one that in Letterkenny that does that is the International Women's Day.
Oh yeah, when he goes to Katie.
Yeah. Oh man, I was like, oh my god.
Every time. Every time.
They can do some sweet sappy writing. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, they can hit you right in the feels. They know how to do it. They're good.
Yeah. And I hope they keep doing it. So.
Yeah, let's hope we got a few more years to keep enjoying it.
So if there's nothing else, then all right, then Maestro, take us away.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of How Are You Now with your favorite groups of Hicks, Skids, hockey players, Christians, and Degens. We hope you enjoyed our chat with David Mack today, and we look forward to having him back here in the near future. Join us next week as we have Auntie Awesome back to chat about Season 11, Episode 6, Degens. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a rating or review. So until next time, keep your head up. And don't be spare parts, bud.